Hello, it's John.
And it's Rikki.
At Rich's Guitars.
Hello,
so we're here to show off some Dowina DUB BVs. It's a really nice, actually, shaped parlour. I don't know if you can see that well. Really, really diddy little things. They're a lot smaller than all the other brand parlours we've got in, smaller than the Eastmans, smaller than Furch and Auden. This is a very traditional kind of parlour shape. So has a little bit more brightness. A lot of that very classic parlour sound, and you'll know what I mean if you know what I mean, as stupid as that sounds. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
I always say there's two different kinds of parlours. You've got some modern brands are basically doing big sounding guitars in small bodies.
Yeah.
And other brands like Dowina, and I think Eastman are doing this as well. I don't know what you found with Eastman, but they're the more traditional sort of have that very classic, works really well for blues and for sort of folky stuff and fingerstyle. That really classic, tight and bright kind of
when I
sound.
see the Eastman parlours, I think blues.
Yeah. And you get a similar kind of vibe out of these because they're nice and they're nice and tight little bodies. So we're going to start on the Ceres, rosewood back and sides. And you can have the choice of top as you usually can with Dowina. Rikki has got Cedar.
Yep.
And I have got, which spruce have I got? Dolomite spruce. So, because it's me, I always pick the cedar, the spruce. You always pick the old cedar.
And I'm a cedar man.
You're a cedar boy. You've got one that isn't cedar.
I do, but I think that's actually my favourite.
You're not allowed to say that. You're a cedar man. You can't prefer the spruce one. So these are 959, no pickups or anything, but obviously we can fit pickups and all that good stuff. Rosewood back and sides, hand built by the team at Dowina, who are very good at what they do, and they're great. I'm going to get Rikki to play a few chords first, because these are obviously, we're here to show you a couple of the different tops that you can get on the different sizes, and just so you can see, because parlours, there's such a big spread of different sounds from parlours, isn't there? Even these ones, we've noticed so many different kind of timbres and sounds out of everything we've got in front of us. So we just want to show some off and see what everyone thinks about what woods and things like that. So we'll start with a rosewood and cedar, because that's quite an easy and traditional combination to start with.
Indeedo. I quite like the mellowness of the cedar, although it doesn't take out that. It's still got a nice, bright, tight, punchy sound though, doesn't it? We're just doing like some Richard chords.
Richard chords.
Okay, so the usual. Just let it ring out a bit.
I hope it comes through video-wise, but they're really, really loud, considering their frame. That's quite loud, isn't it?
Yeah, very loud. That's like just...
Yeah, it probably won't come out because YouTube compresses everything an awful lot, so hopefully. So that's your cedar, nice and mellow and rounded, but because it's obviously a nice little parlour with rosewood back and sides, that just helps keep that brightness and that punchiness, which it suits you actually.
Thank you. I quite like this one now. This might be my favourite actually.
You change your mind every time you play one. So Dolomite spruce. It's a little bit brighter than Sitka, looks and sound wise, I find. So this should be a little bit snappier than the one you had.
Yes.
But yeah, they sound great, don't they?
They sound so good.
They feel really nice as well. I love parlours. We both do, I think. You're a big parlour person as well.
I am, yeah. I'm quite new to playing Parlors, actually.
I didn't know. You've got such a style that suits Parlors
I know,
really nicely.
but
I thought you would.
I've never bought a Parlor.
You see,
Yeah.
I bought one. A bit of homework for people that really like the sound of Parlors. I bought one because there's a band called Villagers whose frontman played. He's quite a small Irish man, and he plays Parlors because he didn't want to look stupid playing a dreadnought. And I bought one because I loved his guitar sound on their albums.
Okay.
But I wish these were around at the time because it's not as good. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think there's been a recent resurgence of Parlors. Yeah, they've got so many good purposes, and especially with there being so many options out there nowadays, you can always find something that works for you. If you do want a small body guitar that sounds nice and full, there are a lot of brands doing that. For something that you can just sit on the sofa with and enjoy. These are the perfect size for doing that. They're so easy just to sit down with and fiddle away on because they're so compact.
Even just sort of just really chilling out.
I reckon that's sound. We both have songs that we always play when we pick up Parlors. Ricky's this silly fishing song, so you'll probably hear a lot of the same chords from us. But yeah, so that's the Ceres. What shall we go to next?
Ooh, that song really suits the Parlor, doesn't it?
If I play it right.
That sounds really nice on there. Actually.
I really like it for Parlors.
I bet this sounds good in here. Oh, it's lovely. So loud.
Right. Next.
What have we got next?
We'll go Granadilo. So these are master builds. I can show off mine. If you've got a Dowina at home, have a peep inside the bracing because you can see who picked the top. This one was picked by Stan. I think that one.
Oh, you got Stan.
I've got Stan's little
Is that
signature.
SPM? Yeah.
SPM.
I've also got Stan.
Ooh, so it's a good comparison, if nothing else. So Granadilo is a really interesting wood. It's always very, very different looking. We've always had it with the sort of big sap and things like that. Well, these two, even these two are very different. They're sort of close, but this has got a lot of stripe grain. Hopefully,
yours is very sort of like shallow grains. Mine's got really deep sort of really deep grains in there. Look at that.
Oh yeah, it's got a very sort of deep,
very deep grain,
deep pores.
Deep pores. That's the word.
Obviously, hasn't been moisturised.
Oh my goodness.
Sound-wise, Granadilo is always an interesting one because I've always found it sort of, to a degree, it's got a bit of rosewoodiness to it. I think it's, but so it's still got that nice emphasis in the low and high and a really nice balance. So hopefully, we picked these two because again, similar to the rosewood, they're both different tops. So hopefully, you'll hear two really nice differences between the two.
Yes.
You have got cedar.
I've got a cedar top. Yeah. Yours looks.
Mine is
Torified.
Mine's the Bethel one because yes, it is Torified. This is actually for a customer. So shout out to Noel. We like Noel.
Yes.
He's a good customer of ours, and this is his Dowina that he's been waiting an eternity for. God bless him. So shout out to you, Noel. You'll get to hear it if you see this before it arrives. I think
it's a real.
It's literally going straight onto Chris's bench the second I finish playing it.
That's true.
So this one unfortunately is not in stock, but we can get them made. So as Rikki mentioned, it's Torified Spruce top, which is it's Torified Dolomite Spruce, which means it's artificially aged. They cook it basically in simple terms, which gives it a very well aged kind of sound. So the reason a lot of people buy vintage guitars and things is because they're broken in and they've got that sort of slightly rounder high end and sort of mellower kind of sound to it. So I actually think this would probably suit you really well. So it might be worth us swapping at some point because it will have that sort of very, very tight and bluesy kind of age to it.
Aged
sounds
sound,
really,
yeah.
it sounds really stupid.
Not
It's the
quite
best
as
way of
mellow
describing
as
it.
Cedar, I don't think, but
So, yeah, kind of somewhere in between. It's getting
in
on the cusp of
between
it.
Spruce and Cedar, yeah.
I know Richard he's a big Cedar fan, is Richard. I
Yes.
always tell him off for being really biased against Spruce because I love Spruce. Richard loves Torified Spruce. Because it can help it get that more cedary kind of sweetness, but not quite as much. You still get a nice snap out of it. That's why I like Spruce. So it's almost like the perfect combination for me and Richard to go for. So I'll let you go first again, chat about yours and see how it sounds.
Okay, I'm going to stick to the same chords, aren't I? Yeah. Although, cedary but quite bright, isn't it? I think it's that, it's the Granadilo, isn't it?
That sounds great.
It does sound good, doesn't it?
Fishing song.
I just love playing that sort of stuff on the Dolomite.
And then Torified Spruce, again, obviously me and Rikki play quite differently. And I'll do a bit of my Parlors song.
That has got a nice mellow tone.
And there's the telephone.
And that is the telephone. Hello, Richard's Guitars. Okay, you're welcome. Enjoy. Let us know if you need anything more, alright? Okay, cheers. Thanks, man. Bye-bye. You can definitely hear how that one's a lot more mellow, isn't it?
Yeah, compared to that chappy.
Yeah.
Which obviously these are the same
Yeah.
Spruce, but this is older. But definitely a little bit more rounded.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I think this one's my favourite now, John.
That one.
I
wonder what will be your next
everyone I
favourite.
play. Every single one I play is my favourite.
They're great. And you probably saw that one's got the slotted headstock. We showed it off during the Ebony video last week.
Feel the neck on this one, John.
Is it?
It's so lovely.
I see what you mean.
You can feel the little...
Yeah.
Nice
There's
though, isn't it?
It's really hard to explain neck shapes. It's got a little bit more of it. Feels like it's got a bit more of a V to it than not like a hard V. Similar to the soft V's that Furches have. Yeah, it is really smooth. That's one thing about Dowina necks. If you've never been able to come in, obviously with how things have been recently, if you haven't been able to come to the shop and try any Dowinas, the necks are consistently so smooth,
Yeah.
just so easy to get on with. Even
Really
when they've got an
nice.
open pore finish, they're just so.
Yeah, I actually prefer the open pore compared to anything
Do
in the
you?
finish. Yeah,
I'm the
it's
opposite.
super
I'm
smooth.
satin all the way.
Well,
I don't-
satin's amazing.
it's probably because I've had it beaten into me a bit by Auden. They've got that really smooth satiny finish.
yeah,
but,
I mean, smooth
this-
satin's amazing, but open pores also.
The open pores,
just as nice.
absolutely, yeah. It's the open pore can be interesting because I think on some sort of some not as well thought out guitars,
Yeah, they could feel a bit.
it can feel a bit lumpy.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it's nothing it's nothing I've experienced. So I assume you haven't.
No,
as well.
not at all. Not with
on
Dowina.
anybody like Dowina, with the Auden open pores and the Furch open pores and everything like that. They're always really nice and smooth and silky.
Yeah. Quite a really nice thing about the Dowina necks I've noticed as well, because I'm quite used to a 43mm nut. But when it comes to playing Dowinas and their 45mm nuts, they actually don't feel much different from 43mm nut, because the neck's so smooth and nice, you don't really notice that it's slightly wider.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
So me and
It's
Rikki,
really nice.
it's quite interesting actually, because Richard is very much on the 45mm team.
Yeah.
I can sometimes feel a little bit too spaced out by 45mm if I've been playing a lot of electric lately or something like that. But you're right, Dowinas always just feel really, really nice.
Yeah.
Their maple necks in particular, which are on some of the master builds, like the I think the Acero and the Amber Road, not the Amber Road, the Silk Road.
Yeah.
They have maple necks, and honestly, I could close my eyes and think I'm playing electric on those, even though they're still 45mm at the nut.
Yeah.
The maple necks, I don't know what they do to finish them. They just feel like silk. I'm trying not to use the really obvious term that everybody uses, which is that it feels like butter. You try that, because I think a little bit of blues on that could be really, really fun.
Yeah, that is nice. Oh yeah, that is nice. I like that, yeah. Yeah, you can definitely get that. You can feel that aged coming through there.
It's a really, really difficult sound to describe. Yeah, I always struggle to describe the sound of Torified Spruce without just sounding too obvious. And aged is just always the word I use, or vintage, if I want to use a particular buzzword. And it's got a unique kind of quality to it that you can only really hear. So hopefully that comes through quite nicely.
Yeah, very nice. Lovely. I'll have that one back then.
So, on to the next. I've got a bit of a story to tell now. Because I've got this and this. Richard always talks about his babies. This one is one of mine, 100%. I have been at Richard's Guitars for just over a year and a half now. Actually, the time is going so fast, I think it's even longer than that. And the first video I ever did with Richard as well, so this was about a year ago, actually now. And it was about the time I went to visit Dowina. Have you seen it?
Yes.
You sat through the whole 45-minute slog of me talking about it.
Yeah. Most of it.
Anyone that got through that 45 minutes, I think, deserves a tip of the hat. Because it was just me and Richard talking about how excited we were about wood for several times, several hours. But in that video, and when I went to visit, there was the story that I went. The second I arrived at Dowina, we obviously went to the car park. We were dropped off by a taxi at the car park. Got out, and there were just big strips of wood, bits of tree that were still with bark down the edges.
Yes.
And everything. Obviously cut into strips that had just been delivered, and it was absolutely incredible. That was the first time I ever got to go to a guitar workshop, and it was such an exciting weekend. And the first thing I saw was literally just these bits of wood being delivered, and that was some Bratislavan oak. And they'd never had it before. It was the first batch they ever had, and they'd never used it before. So they were, but they obviously, Dowina being Dowina, they wanted to be sustainable and try and support more unusual wood options. And this arrived relatively recently, a couple of months ago, and it's made of that very wood, and it just amazes me because oak. It's something you've never really heard of a guitar being made of. Have you ever?
No, I haven't. I haven't actually.
And I think
it's a really nice looking wood.
Yeah. Me and Richard, when I was originally talking about oak as an option, we sort of said the trouble with oak is if it's not done right, it could just end up looking like a piece of furniture. And the thing about the guys at Dowina, I think this is Erica. They have such a keen eye for stopping any sort of more commonly seen woods like oak and things like that, and sapele as well. They have a really good way of making them look really spectacular. So, for example, this has a really absolutely glorious Padauk binding, which I think you can quite nicely see in the lighting here actually as well. And it just contrasts to that spruce and the oak really nicely.
It does actually, yeah.
And it's the extra detail. The usual detail is that obviously the leaf on there. I'm a big fan of oak trees. The specific thing is I'm reading a book about them at the moment because I'm one of those people. So this really appeals to me, and I think
I like that it's got
nuts.
an acorn there. Yeah.
It's got a pair of nuts. And I absolutely adore this guitar. This is 100% probably my favourite Dowina I've ever played. Maybe bar I tried a really, really, really nice Spruce and Rosewood Amber Road Dreadnought when I was there, and that's the reason I wanted a Dreadnought once upon a time. There's a different story. I absolutely adore this thing. There's a lot of obviously story behind it to me, and I think when someone finally buys it, if it's not me, then I might actually shed a few tears because I'll have to say goodbye to it. But these things happen. It's what happens here. Have you had a guitar like that yet? That you've just sat there and thought, I'll actually be really, really depressed when that leaves the building?
Yeah, all of the Dovinas.
Every single one.
I mean, I must say, a lot of them have blown me away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're still in that honeymoon phase.
I'm still in the honeymoon phase.
You just get really excited about every guitar you play, though.
Yeah, I think so.
You eventually become more hardened and miserable, like I am.
I don't look forward to that.
It's still very, very exciting every time any guitars come through the door.
No, I can believe that. I mean, look at Richard, 25 years later, and he's still like a little.
Still as an excitable little child, which is an excellent environment to be in.
Yes.
So yeah,
keeps us young.
That's that story. So yeah, this is a Slovakian oak, so literally from round the corner from Dowina. This has Sitka spruce, so obviously from a bit further afield it's American, but yeah. So oak sound-wise, so they say, or so Erica told me. It's a little bit like maple, so it's quite bright sound-wise, but one of the first things she said was it's really, really resonant, and that's something I've noticed about this. Because sometimes I really like maple guitars, but sometimes I do find that you can pick them up sometimes and they haven't got the same sustain that I like in other guitars.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have that aspect of maple, so that's another thing that adds to it for me. But I'll stop trying to convince myself to buy it. So yeah, that's the oak. Rikki, this is the Merlot, which has got Macacauba back and sides. It's Rikki got it spot on. Where I was out of the room for a moment ago when I was speaking to Rich on the phone, and I came back and you described it almost perfectly. If you can remember.
Oh yeah, I find this one's got a really nice, full and rich bass and good fat bottom end. It's really driving, isn't it? But it doesn't sort of drown out that middle and high end, doesn't it?
It's a well balanced low end.
Very nice. Yeah. Very well balanced.
Yeah, it's just there, sort of saying it's there, but supporting that nice sort of brightness that you still get. And you've got spruce as well, so that kind of helps even that out.
Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't sound actually as bright as what I imagined it to with the spruce top. Yeah, well, it's nice and punchy, but it hasn't got that really. I think it's probably the Macacauba though that just holds it nice.
Yeah.
Really, it's a strong sound. Should I give it a few chords?
Rikki, give it a few chords. be really, really good if you were wanting to front a band with an acoustic. Any Jethro Tull fans who want to be like Ian Anderson should have that. It's got a nice fullness.
Yeah.
I think it cut through really nicely if you're with a big band of like keys and guitars and other guitars, obviously, and basses and stuff like that. It just has that really nice. I don't know. It's got something about it, that one has.
Stunning.
Well, it's interesting to compare these two. I think the reason that we wanted to compare these two is that they would be so different. Because you obviously said that it's got a big low end. This would be a bit brighter.
Yeah.
Because they're both the same top, both cedar top.
Very nice.
Again, it's got that classic Dowina
Just rings out,
sustain.
doesn't it? They do. Tend
They
to
have
ring
a proper long sustain to them.
They just hold in there. It's amazing. I don't know how they do it. It's just incredible. Just amazing. I love these things so much.
They're very, very special parlours. I think because of that combination of the really traditional kind of compact size that you don't see much of anymore. I actually, I think I've spoken to you and Dylan. Dylan's our logistics wizard. Several times about that. I really, really love very traditional kind of looking guitars because I'm a big sort of history kind of nerd in that respect sometimes.
Yes.
And I get a bit sad that you don't see them very often.
Yes.
But Dowina have just got it so right because they've got enough of that modern Dowina kind of edge. So they've got that really long sustain and a really nice amount of volume. But they still, it doesn't kill that very traditional parlour kind of sound.
Yeah.
And even if you're not after that traditional parlour sound and you just want something to sit on the sofa with and just really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
But it's not like a horrid little £200 not very good travel guitar or something like that. You still want a really special guitar, but something that you can still sit and enjoy on the sofa. They're just great for it because they're just. You could easily just sit back with this while MasterChef's on in the background and fiddle away. So that's the Dowina Parlors. Ricky's found his favourite.
I do like this one.
So if any of our viewers have won the lottery and really want to treat me for being fabulous, one of these would be very nice. So yeah, that's the Dowina BVs.
That is.
Hopefully you've enjoyed them, and this has just given you a good idea of the kind of things we've got in. As per, if you have any other questions about anything that we had in the video, give us a shout. Me and Rikki are obviously on the front line all day, every day at the moment.
All day, every
bar
day.
Sundays and Mondays.
You want to speak to us? Just give us a ring.
We're both in bed on Sundays and Mondays. So,
Yes.
but yeah, so hopefully this is kind of shed a little bit of light on how special Dowina's parlours really are.
Absolutely.
And hopefully there's a bit of something for everybody. But yeah, again, any questions about them at all, just let us know. We'll be able to answer. So just in order of what you've seen the Ceres, you've seen the Granadilo, you've seen the Merlot, and then this is called the DUB, which is Slovakian for oak. Hopefully you've really liked the Dowina Parlors. Hopefully you've loved them as much as we do, and let us know which ones are your favourites and things, because obviously we have ours. Well, Richard has several. Not Richard, Rikki has several. Richard does have several. But yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.
See you soon. Bye. Bye.